They said there'd be days like these. Welcome back to Stock Talk with Erik Anthony. Hope your guys' Tuesday's been pretty solid thus far. I don't know if I've told any of you guys out there, but I work from home and I've been on like a little hiatus for baby bonding time. So these past couple days, I've been actually working home now. So I'm trying to figure out what time I'm going to actually shoot this. So I'm actually kind of shooting. I'm going to shoot like during my breaks, or maybe just shoot like during lunch or immediately right after. I'm still trying to figure this out. So bear with me as I try to figure out when I'm going to shoot and how I'm going to upload it so that you guys can get some up-to-date information, and more importantly, just some information that can help you out that you don't need to see by the minute, so that it's still valuable to you even if you come back to the episode a couple days later. Okay, so I just want to review with you guys how the market kind of did today. I want to discuss a little highlight that I got regarding the BMO 31st Global Mining and Metal Conference. I think it's 31st Global Metals and Mining Conference, which included ABML. I'm going to go over some of the highlights and a little bit of the lowlights for Bngo's earnings, as well as want to review the earnings for Dutch Brothers. And just want to remind you guys, the stock is not the business. And I think today, after the stuff we'll discuss, you'll get a better idea of that. And also want to kind of review Sofi, and just so we can have a compare and contrast with some companies' earnings and stock price action, and some of the things that we're probably looking for in a risk on market compared to a risk off market. Okay, well, let's just jump right into some of the sectors that we like to follow. In the chip sector, a lot of it was down today, hovering between 3, 4, and even 7%. As we get to our fintech space, at the time of this recording, it says that, only Affirm was up 1% today, and that, PayPal, Sofi, and Hood all down around 2 to 4%. But in the after hours, Sofi was up about 20% due to their earnings, and we'll get to that soon. Okay, Dutch Brothers down 1.93%. Palantir was up 2.95%. NNDM down 1.98%. As we move to the genomics sector, most of the companies here also had a pretty stagnant day, even being somewhat positive. Again, as you can see, at the time of this recording, Bngo had yet to report, but after hours, the price action was about down 6% due to their earnings, which we will discuss. We have Mount Fang. Mount Fang was all red today. Again, today everything was pretty red. It's a bloody Tuesday. Tuesdays are typically red just in general, so it shouldn't be that surprising to you or to anyone that really follows the market. It's just one of those things. Moving on to our EV plays. And look, so we have Polestar, which was down about 1.81% at the time of this recording. Rivian on the day was down about 8.36%. I think that has a lot to do with that they decided to increase their prices. So if I'm not mistaken, there are trucks that were like on a pre-order for $85K. They now want $100K. And they are saying that the reason for their increase are due to like inflation and just some cost things. I don't think the market really reacted too favorably to that news, because such an increase kind of actually was a turnoff. And as I was kind of going through just some of the feeds, I did notice a lot of people were discussing just canceling their order in general because of the price hike. So that might be why we saw such a huge drop for Rivian. And then Lucid also down 13.77%. Truth be told, I've never been a fan of Lucid. I've always felt that their CEO was more of a salesman than a realist. But again, the stock is not the business. So I know some people made a killing off the stock, but the business itself, to me, it seems atrocious. And as we see with our watch list for some of our top crypto plays, again, as you can tell, just a pretty stagnant day. We'll just call today a stagnant Tuesday. Even though there's a lot more red, I wouldn't call it a bloody Tuesday, more of an expected Tuesday is probably better. And again, as a long-term investor, these days are actually kind of nice for me, because I like to do a lot of my shopping when things are red. Excuse me. I really like red days. Well, don't get me wrong. I do just want to see my stocks go up, up, and up, and up, up, and up. And I hope that they never come down. But from a buyer standpoint, if something's on sale, I will take advantage. I usually don't jump heavy. I think I made that mistake a couple years ago where I probably went a little bit heavier than I should have. But lesson learned, still in the market. everything as well, but lessons have been learned. Okay, so let's talk about Bngo. Today, Bngo traded lower in the post market, as I had mentioned, with the about 6.84% at the time of this recording, after the company topped analyst forecast for revenue with its Q4 2021 financials. While total revenue for the quarter reached $6.3 million, which was about a 58% year-over-year growth, indicated a slowdown from an average quarterly growth of around 172.4% year-over-year recorded in the early part of 2021. The full year revenue reached 18 million with about 111% year-over-year growth, indicating a turnaround from approximately 16% year-over-year decline in 2020, which is great. As per CEO Erik remarked, "We had the strongest quarter in Bionano's history with a record number of Sapphire shipments and installations, including adoptions at several notable sites, including leading hospitals, cytogenetic labs, and academic medical centers." The company sold 12,518 flow cells in 2021, including 3,204 in Q4 2021, which indicated roughly 29% year-over-year growth. The installed base of Sapphire systems climbed from 141 at the end of Q3 to reach a total of 164 at the year end, implying roughly 69% year-over-year growth. The cost of revenue increased roughly 116% year-over-year and 146% year-over-year to 6.6 million and 14.1 million in Q4 and full year 2021 respectively. The gross margin for Q4 and full year slipped to roughly 4% and 22% from 30% roughly and 33% in the prior year periods, driving the net loss by almost 96% year-over-year and 76% year-over-year to the 22.9 million and 72.4 million respectively. For 2022, Bngo projects 24 million to roughly 27 million in revenue, indicating a 33 to 50% year-over-year growth. The current Street's forecast suggests 26.5 million revenue for the company in 2022. Just want to review with you really quick some highlights that we as investors in Bngo can look forward to for the calendar year of 2022. Okay, for the first quarter, they want to apply for Category 1 CPT code for OGM. They would like to receive one IRB approval for a hematological study. In Q2, they would like the site selection complete and enrollment commencement for hematological malignancy study and data generation commencement for prenatal study. In Q3, they would like Bionano Labs test menu expanded to include genetic disease and hematologic malignancies. In Q4, they want a completion of a postnatal study, enrollment, analysis, and assessment of all primary endpoints. They would like to release labeling protocol 2.0 and SP Next DNA isolation protocol, pre-commercial version of a new high throughput imaging system for OGM system running in the field, an interim publication on prenatal study, and an installed base of 240 Sapphire systems, which would represent at least a 45% growth from year-end 2021. Okay, so those are kind of the ups and downs of what was revealed to us during the call. I definitely listened to it. It was not too bad. I personally, this is not like an attack, but I wouldn't mind if our CEO was a little more enthusiastic when he gave out some of the news. Again, that's neither here nor there, but that's just me as I'm listening. I've listened to a lot of conference calls. I know some of them can be very monotonous and some can be boring. You know, there's been some Palantir ones that are just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what he's talking about. Some Tesla ones where Elon comes on and it sounds great, and I've heard some other Tesla ones where Elon comes on and I'm like, oh my god, can you just please stop talking? But today was one of those ones from Bngo. When I was listening to Hamlin speak, I was like, man, I don't know if he's sick today or he just doesn't seem like as peachy as he usually is. He usually has a different demeanor, but needless to say, what I took from it, all good things from a long-term standpoint. Truth be told, the gross margin thing, they did say that they felt that that would be a transitory effect on the business, specifically due to chips and the chips not meeting their standards for commercial use with some of their products in their product line. So as an investor, you would hope that they don't do anything and try to rush and have to have products come back because things are malfunctioning or things were not put together correctly. So I appreciate that. As I had told you guys yesterday, what I was going to be looking for specifically would be guidance and beats. Of course, we want to see gross margin increase and never go down. So hopefully with the chip shortage and just the whole pandemic and everything kind of moving forward, maybe that can alleviate over time. Hearing that the sapphires we were in the 160 range, and now that their goal will be 240, going to be happier with that. And ultimately, the list that I just went over right now, all great things. They did talk about some EU accreditation, and no one discussed FDA and some of the questions, but I don't know if that's in the pipeline. I think there's some hopefuls out there that they're just going to drop that, but as a realist, I don't think that's going to be coming anytime soon. I think what we want to do as long-term investors is continue to see these lists with achievable benchmarks and overall expedited growth. One good thing that I did hear is that they do feel that in regard to their hiring, they're not going to be moving as vivaciously with all the hires that they did as they did in 2021, which is great because now, as they mentioned, they still have 250 million on hand, which is always great, along with all the new staff in all the different areas. So as a long-term shareholder in Bngo, very excited for the future. As a long-term investor in the short term, it was a bummer. I just want to be honest with you. It's a bummer to just see the ER come out and you just see the stock go down. I think as bad as it sounds, I think you have a better luck playing Russian roulette and hitting than earnings to go well for Bngo in my history with the company. Another thing that I think why we're going to see some of the price action come down with Bngo is with this statement again. I know I've already said it, but I just want to review it one more time. It says, while total revenue for the quarter reached 6.3 million, that was roughly about 58% year-over-year growth, indicated a slowdown from an average quarterly growth of around 172.4% year-over-year recorded in the early part of 2021. Whenever you hear the word slowdown, I think that probably triggers some algorithms. Another thing that you guys want to keep in mind, if you're new to the market, if you just don't pay attention to all aspects of it, I know I try to stay on top of as much of it as possible, but one thing you want to keep in mind, there are a lot of people that play earnings, and some people have these calls ready for $3.50 because they think it's going to be some crazy beat and they're ready to go. Some people buy in heavy around $2.05, hoping that it gets to $2.75, and they're just going all in. And the moment that it didn't happen, and they get a word like slowdown that pops out, I think a lot of them are just trying to cut their losses and close those positions as fast as possible to reduce that loss. So that might be a reason why we just saw that rapid drop off, because even during the earnings call, I've been a part of some of these earning calls where I've seen the drop off go like 10, 15, 20% as Holman's talking. This time it was actually different. I thought it went well besides some of his demeanor and just how he was talking. But I personally didn't see the drop off until some of these articles started coming out with the negative terminology or negative wording that they had associated with the reports in general. And again, a word like slowdown, I think, can trigger the algorithm as well. So if you see it tomorrow, I hope that we're not back in the ones, but if we are, not financial advice, but it wouldn't be a bad time to maybe increase the position a little bit. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw that in there too on some of my thoughts with how Bngo performed in the earnings and what some of our expectations will be in the future. Okay, let's move on to Dutch Brothers. Dutch Brothers reports a strong fourth quarter and full year of 2021 financial results. The Q4 revenue rose 55.8% to 140.1 million. Q4 same-store sales rose 10.1%, sees the fiscal year revenue of 700 million to about 715 million. They see a total system shop opening to be at least 125 for 2022. They see the 2022 total revenues to be in the range of 700 million to 715 million. They see the same shop sales growth in mid-single digits. They see capital expenditures in the range of about 175 million to 200 million. And they see a total system shop opening are expected to be at least 30 in the Q1 22. So I wanted to just show you guys a picture that I took. In the after hours, Dutch Brothers was down about 1%. And that's even after everything I just said right now. And so again, the stock is not the business. This is with the company that is doing well, beating, but they missed on their EPS by 1 cent. That miss even though they're saying that their guidance is that they want to open an additional 125 sites, still can bring the price action down. So that should just try to help solidify some of your emotional, it helps solidify some of my emotion with regard to how I feel on some of the reports that I get for some of the companies that I'm heavily invested in. Personally, maybe a few years ago when I would look at some of these numbers and be like, why isn't things going up? Everything looks great, and now I'm starting to realize those keywords, starting to understand the minute misses and understand how the market is running. And again, we are in a risk off market. So anything negative will push that price action down. It's just the way it is right now in today's market. Ultimately, you want to see and hear about those guidances. Are they facilitating growth? Do they anticipate growth? And again, for companies like Bngo and Dutch Brothers, I think growth is well within reach. I think definitely growth is what they plan on doing in their own spaces individually. But again, just because there was a little bit of a miss with Bngo, there's a little bit of a miss with Dutch Bros regarding the EPS, a slowdown with Bngo. I think that's why we see some of these price actions falling the way they are in the after hours. And again, after hours aren't open to everybody, so it might be indicative of how people feel in that moment, and give people some time to process the reports, reread it, and we'll see tomorrow exactly where these companies will go with regard to price action in the stock. Okay, so I've given you a couple of examples of some of our favorite companies that went down today. Let me read you what has popped out for a company that actually popped off in the upward in after hours because of good earnings, and maybe this can kind of give you that the comparison and that contrast with what the market is looking for today in this market that can maybe signify what we consider a beat all the way around and price action going to the positive and exponential price action moving with some of these companies. So let's look at Sofi. Financial services provider Sofi Technologies shares gained 16% to $13 in after hours trading after the company reported better than expected revenue in the fourth quarter and raised its guidance for 2022. Total net revenue rose to $285.6 million for the quarter ended December 31st from $171.5 million. For 2022, Sofi said it expects to grow adjusted net revenue 55% year over year to $1.57 billion. The company said several recent developments factored into the guidance, including an assumption that the moratorium on federal student loan payments will expire on May 1st. The company posted a net loss of $111 million or per share loss of 15 cents for the quarter, compared to a loss of $82.6 million or a per share loss of $1.85 in the year ago period. The chief executive, Anthony Noto, said the company reached all-time highs in members added, products added, and engagement. Okay, so again, I don't know if any of you guys are invested in Sofi, but I want to bring this to you guys' attention because this is what the market's looking for. They're looking for beats across the board, no traces of slowdowns, an opportunity for more money as the student loan will open back up in May. That's what they assume, as well as a raised guidance all the way for the entire year. So this, again, just kind of like I was saying before, keep this in mind with any of the other companies that you yourself are invested in, how you might want to anticipate the price action of a stock after receiving the results for some of these earning reports. Again, we have a few more that are coming out. We have Costco that I'll be checking out and Dollar Tree. That kind of gives me an idea of just how people are spending in general. Those two companies are companies that I will just kind of be looking at from just to see how consumers are spending, whether they're frugal spenders or wholesale spenders. Again, just what I like to look at. I don't have positions with these companies, but I do enjoy following the numbers and just looking at the trends. So if you guys would like me to, I can definitely report back and show you guys some of that growth or just kind of what the expectations are for the guidance of 2022, as I feel that will help paint the picture of what our economy is looking like as we continue to hear more and more earnings reports. But yeah, so again, like I always say, let me know in the comments below if there is a specific company that you want me to just take the time to either listen to the conference call, go over the numbers, report the numbers. Please put the stock ticker in the comment and I'll definitely do that. I have no problem doing that. But again, just to kind of wrap it up today, just one of those days, don't take it personal. especially as a long-term investor. Some days will be like this with regard to some of our price action. Doesn't mean that the company's not doing what you want it to do. But right now, again, I've said this like 3 times today, in a risk-off market, if you're not having beats across the board with fantastic guidance, just expect the price action to go down. But anyway, with the expo that happened regarding ABML, for some reason, our time got cut off and they started way later. So the CEO's presentation didn't even get followed up with questions. So it was nice to see him present, but a lot of the information he presented, if you just want to review some of my last videos, I'm pretty sure I touched on most thing that he touched on in his presentation today. You can go back to some of the videos. I'll leave the links below so you can review some of my ABL updates, because I think you can get some solid information there without having to check out the expo. If there were some questions that were going to be asked, I was definitely going to report that today. But again, his time got cut off, so I just figured, well, I'll let you guys know how it went. But there was nothing really missed there. One thing though that he did say is that they are planning to uplist to the NASDAQ. So keep that in mind. Just keep that on your radar. Again, you don't need to go all in. Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice, but just something to keep on the radar, because it's always exciting to see a company go from the OTC and take that next step. Little man is sleeping right now. I'm going to take advantage of this time. I'm going to wrap this up, load these up, and then I'm going to hit the gym real quick and then do some edits. And I hope to get to this by around 10, 11 o'clock, because it takes forever for these videos to load. So fingers crossed that I can get it done. Like always, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you mañana.